If you're a blogger, you might have heard about the new program from MSN Start that allows you to syndicate your content over at the MSN site. Now, I know there's been a lot of questions as to whether this is a good idea, if it's worth your time and effort. If you decide to do it, how do you manage it? And we've got the answers to all those questions in this video. Hi, I'm Leslie Peterson. I help bloggers overcome burnout and create a full-time living from their blog by focusing on strategies that work and avoiding those that don't. If you want to grow your blog to 6 or 7 figures and you're looking for the right strategies to do that, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button down below. Now, what you're looking at here is the MSN site, msn.com, and I'm in the travel section because that's where my experience lies, is in travel. And if I scroll down, you can see articles from the travel, from the Points Guy, from Travel Awaits, from Daily Mail. This is one of our sites, 365 Atlanta Traveler. This is one of our articles that's been syndicated here. So I can open that up and you'll see our name here and the article. So let's back up just a little bit. MSN.com is one place that you'll be able to find your articles. Another place is Microsoft Start. Now, Microsoft Start has an app that you can download on your phone. You'll see the exact same feed, which changes very, very quickly. And also anybody who buys a new Microsoft computer will get Microsoft Start on their system. And that's another place that people will go to in order to see your articles. Now, MSN has a reported audience of 1.8 billion people. And while that sounds like so many, don't expect 1.8 billion people to see your article, because as you noticed when we were scrolling through, there are tons and tons and tons of new articles every second just in the travel section. So that's not the food section, that's not the lifestyle section, that's not the entertainment section. It's still really, really valuable, and we're going to talk about that, but I just want to make sure that you understand where you would go in order to see this Microsoft content. So here we are in one of our posts, one of my posts about Daufuskie Island rentals. Daufuskie Island is an island off of in South Carolina, just right across from Hilton Head. If you haven't been, you should totally go. But let's look at a breakdown of this article. Now, before we keep going, I want to point out a couple things. Number one, notice there's ads forming on the side of the article and at the top of the article while we're here. Also, I want to let you know that my browser has a tool in it that highlights nofollow links in red. So you'll be able to see those, but let's look through this. The first one here you'll see is Daufuskie Island. That's a link to our article about Daufuskie Island. This is about Daufuskie Island rentals. And then a link out to our article about things to do in South Carolina. So you notice both of these are do follow. What I want to point out to you is that when you send an article to MSN, you're going to be using something that's called a canonical link, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But that canonical link is nofollow. So that means this article is currently marked as a nofollow, so no Google juice, no Google value with MSN. And that will be the case for every article that you send over there. The value, the link back value, comes from linking internally within your content in a very strategic way so that you can get backlinks. So for example, while on this article we're not getting a do follow backlink from MSN for our rentals post, we are getting one for the island and we are getting one for South Carolina. And I can tell you that in this island post, I've got a link back to the rentals, this exact article. So when I post that Daufuskie Island roundup, I will get the do follow link back to this rental post in that way. Not by pushing it up to MSN, but by linking back to it from within an MSN article. So let's keep going here. You see the pictures come through. You'll see the red line I mentioned earlier, and that is because these are affiliate links. So these are nofollow links on my own site, and as I push them over to MSN, they're also nofollow links. So you are able to put affiliates into the articles that you push to MSN, but you just want to do it sparingly. You don't want to take advantage of it. and you want to make sure it matches with the content, just like you would if it were on your own blog. So we'll keep going through here. You'll see the content showing up. There's a continue reading button if you want to see the entire post. And you'll notice at the bottom of all of our content on our website, we add our very own recommended links. And you can see here our South Carolina landing page, the Daufuskie Island post, and then Hilton Head, because I told you it's right across the waterway from Hilton Head. And then our pins come over. Not very valuable on MSN, but they are valuable on our site, which is why we keep them. So this is what the article looks like on MSN. Now, here are the reasons why this partnership is so valuable. Number one, your content is moving over to MSN and has the potential to reach tens of hundreds, thousands, millions of people that it wouldn't have otherwise been able to reach. That's number one. Number two, the internal links within your post. If you've set them to do follow or you've not marked them no follow, then you're going to get that link juice from MSN, which is at 94 DA. That's insane. The only thing that is much higher than that is Google itself, YouTube, Apple, Facebook, LinkedIn. Some of those people have a higher DA, but you're not going to find another place that's going to give you that high DA giving you do follow backlinks. So that's number two. So that's going to boost the overall value of your blog on the internet. Number three, you recall we looked at all of these ads on the side and at the top, Overstock and Apollo. MSN in this program is sharing a portion of that ad revenue with you. So every month you get a portion of that ad revenue. So you're getting backlinks, you're getting exposure, you're getting a revenue share from Microsoft. That is insane. And then here's the final amazing benefit. And that is that if you have internal links in your blog post and someone clicks through, in this case, I've clicked through to my site. Notice we're not on MSN anymore. Then the ad revenue that's generated here from your ad network, and we use Mediavine and love them. The ad revenue generated here is insanely amazing. Let me explain that. If you're on an ad network now and you go and look at the ad revenue by source, you're going to see that you get ad revenue from click-throughs from Facebook or social media, Pinterest, direct email. Probably, I would say for 99.9% of the people on the ad networks, the highest RPM or the highest amount of ad revenue that you're making comes from organic search. So that is, organic search is an indication to the ad buyer that they're hot to buy, that they are ripe for this. They're not just clicking through because they randomly saw something on social media. They actually did a search, found your post, and opened it up. And so we know a lot more about that person, and the ad revenue tends to be higher. Now, the only time I've ever seen any ad revenue or RPM higher than organic search is with MSN. MSN directed content to your site offers a much higher RPM. So you've got two ways of making money there, not to mention the fact that as long as you don't take advantage, MSN is okay with you adding affiliate links into your posts. I mean, it almost seems too good to be true, but it's not. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's here today and it's working. Now, if you're not on the program, let's talk about the ways that you get your content over. There's a couple different ways. I think the two most popular are probably using the WordPress plugin and then also using the direct feed. Now, we use the plugin, and that's what I can show you here. So I'm going to take this Daufuskie Island post. This is not the rentals post that you saw over here. This is one that we link out to, but it's still on MSN. So I'm going to hit edit. If you're on WordPress, then this should look pretty familiar to you. You've got, we use rank math, so you've got the rank math information here. You've got your typical metadata here that you would normally use, but you've also got a new section called MS Start. Now, it's here that we can just say whether or not we want to publish a post to MSN. So if you're using the plugin, you'll be able to say certain posts I want to send over, certain posts I don't. I'll give you an example of this just in our space. We have this hyperlocal blog where we publish things to do at Christmas time and things to do in Halloween. Well, it's necessary for us to build that list in sometimes June or July, update it, make sure it's fresh. Certainly not a time that we want to push it out to MSN. In fact, it's as of this recording, it's September 18th, and we haven't started pushing our fall content, and we won't until later next week. So if this was fall content that I was updating, I would not turn it on to push over to MSN until I was ready. In this case, when we published the Daufuskie Island post, we were ready to push it over. So I hit go on the Microsoft publish to Microsoft setting. Now it brought in our feature photo and our excerpt, and if I wanted to change that, I could. It also allows you to do some really neat things. If you have localized content, then you'll be able to indicate that this should be shown to a particular media area. So for example, the largest media area in the Southeast near Daufuskie Island is Atlanta. So I could come in here and say, hey, show this to people who are looking at Atlanta news. Now, it's not going to put it in the Atlanta news section. This isn't a news post. I've already categorized it as travel, but it is going to tell MSN, hey, this is probably better for people in the Atlanta market. Now, if this was about Disneyland, which is over in California, then I wouldn't pick Atlanta. I'd pick California. Or I can leave it generic and it'll show up to everybody. Something I want to share with you, if you are in the travel space and you do have local content, I have noticed an increased RPM or revenue from my localized site as opposed to my national site. So don't forget to add a location there if it makes sense for your content. Now, if you're publishing the best ab exercises or how to make an amazing pumpkin pie, then adding a location doesn't make sense. But if you're publishing something about Daufuskie Island, well, maybe you should pick the Atlanta market. So there's a couple other settings here that you can change. You don't have to worry about this being a canonical link or not a canonical link. It's always going to be canonical when it's pushed over. What does that mean? A canonical link is an indication to Google that this is an exact copy of your content on a huge site, a better site, a site with a higher domain authority, higher importance in the Google ranking structure. But it says to Google, hey, MSN's letting us put this content up here, but we all know that the article really lives over here on my site, and that's where all the Google magic should happen. So it's a very strategic decision on MSN's part. It means they're just showing your content not through Google search. People aren't going to be able to use Google search to get to this article on MSN's site. If they find this article on Google search, it's going to be coming to my site. But it's a way to let MSN use the content, make ad revenue, share a little bit of that with you, but still give all the good Google juju-ness to you, not to them. I think it's amazing. Again, it sounds too good to be true, and I've spent several months trying to poke holes in this, but it's great. I'm just so thankful to Microsoft for this opportunity, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. So let's keep going. So this is how I would send something over to Microsoft. And now you'll notice I made that change here. I want to focus this on Atlanta. So all I have to do is hit update on my post. I haven't made any changes on my post whatsoever, except indicating a location for Microsoft. And now this pushes it over to the Microsoft feed on MSN. Now don't expect that we will go into the Microsoft site in the travel section and we will see that post automatically. There are dozens and dozens of bloggers in this space who, even in travel, are just constantly sending content over. So it might be 15 minutes before you see it. It might be a day before you see it. It's a huge, huge feed. And so let's talk about that feed. What that means is, again, the 1.8 billion annual readers of MSN are not going to see your content. You're not going to get 1.8 billion people looking at your content because it's refreshing so quickly with so many other sites. But you will get traffic especially if it's an appealing article. You will get the backlinks if you're adding them internally to your system, and you will get the shared ad revenue when someone looks at it. You will get higher RPM, at least anecdotally. That's what my friends and I have experienced when people click from the article in MSN into your post to see more information. And then you will, of course, get any affiliate revenue. So really great program, but that feed means it's got to feel like social media. Just like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, you see it, and then a few hours later, it's gone, and people aren't going to see it again. So I've heard a lot of complaints from people that their information is gone. They're just, oh, I made $2. I don't understand why I just made $2 from this. And that's because you've got to work the system. So that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay, if you recall, I showed you the feed, the MSN feed, and I explained to you how there's a lot of content creators in this program, and that feed is changing regularly. It's much like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. It's regularly changing, probably even faster than your own feed, because there's so many more content creators with so much content. So how do you stay on top? How do you continue to earn revenue? And the answer to that is to publish posts every day. Now, how many posts should you publish? Well, I do know some people in this program who are posting 100, 200, 300 posts a day, and I'm going to say I think that's too much. I think that overwhelms the feed. I think it takes advantage of this fantastic partnership, and I think it steps on your colleagues' toes because it keeps their information from showing up also. So my team and I put together what we thought was a good compromise. We think it's a great idea to show any given article, for example, that Defusky Rentals article, to the feed once a quarter. So 4 times a year, we would republish an article so that it could get in front of a new, fresh set of eyes. So how do you come up with that number? Well, there's about 90 days in a quarter, so you take the number of posts that you have, divide that by 90, and for us, that ended up being about 10. So we publish 10 posts up to MSN every day, without fail. 10 posts get published up. So I did some experimenting. Originally, I was doing 15 or 20 posts a day. It just seemed like too much. I did go down to 5. I wasn't happy with the revenue there. I think 10 is a good number for us. And again, that equates to about every article being published about every quarter. Now, do you have to publish an article every quarter? Absolutely not. If you're just interested in those DA94 backlinks, then you want to make sure that you have a good internal linking system within your own blog. Get all of those articles published up there, and then you're done. Just walk away. But if you're interested in that affiliate revenue, that revenue that comes from people clicking through your article to your website, the shared ad revenue from MSN, if you're interested in all of that, then you're going to need to do it on a regular basis. Now, I have some friends who say to me, Leslie, I can't believe that you do this every day, 10 posts every day. And I'm like, of course, I think it's a really smart decision. It takes like 20 minutes for me to do it. And I know they spend 20 minutes scrolling their feeds on TikTok or publishing a post out to Instagram, and they're not making anything from doing that. Whereas my 20 minutes posting my content up to MSN is turning into real income. So between my affiliates, the click-through revenue, and the ad share revenue, we're seeing about $5,000 a month with this program. That's from me just putting 10 posts up every day. And I think it's worth it. I think it's a much better investment than, taking a selfie and putting it on Instagram for people to like. I'm much more about earning the dollars than the vanity likes. And so now that I've gone through about 2 or almost 3 months of testing and learning about the system and getting a feel for it, then I'll pass it over to my VA. So my VA spending half an hour at the max every day posting is a very good investment considering what the return is. So I'm sure the next question you have is, how do I know what to post? How do I manage that? And for that, I'm going to show you a sneak peek of our project management system. This is our project management system. It's monday.com. So I've tried Asana, I've tried ClickUp, I've tried all of them. This is by far my favorite. There's a link down below if you want to check them out. But this is our inventory tab. So you can see all of our content. And I pulled up the local site here, which is where that Dufusky article resides that I showed you. You can see all of our titles, links, and then I've got a column here where I manage MSN. I should say, if you don't have a project management system, you can use Excel for this. Monday is a really, it's like spreadsheets on steroids. I love it because of the way they interact together. But again, if you don't even have a project management system yet, let's get you up on MSN so that you'll have enough money to afford one. In the meantime, you can use a spreadsheet. So I didn't start my process using this. So you see some here are unknown, even though they're published. The Fort Myers post, I'm sure, is up there, but it's unknown because I started too late. But what you'll do, because you're going to be starting on time, is you're going to indicate whether the post is either a seasonal post. So again, we're a hyperlocal kind of travel site, so we have a lot of seasonal content. Even if you're a food blog, you might not want to post that turkey recipe every quarter. You might want to publish the turkey and dressing and pumpkin pie recipes more in the fall, where you're publishing, some great, I don't know of any summer foods. Grilling, might be more popular in the spring or summer. So you may or may not have seasonal content. You'll indicate that. Some things, they just need to go up at a specific date. If I'm publishing an article about a festival, I don't want to throw that up on MSN 4 times a year. I just want to put it up when right before the festival's happening, when people are interested in it. And then there's just going to be some things that just don't need to go up for whatever reason. So you'll have a status for that. But what you'll do is come in every day, and if we sort this, I'll go down to the bottom here and I say, okay, I do 10 a day. So I'm going to look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just a quick glance at those tells me none of these are really seasonal. So I'm going to go and publish them. And here's what I would do. I'll go out. This is fun things to do in Atlanta for teenagers. I'll hit edit. Oh, and well, look at this. I didn't even plan this, but this has never been published before. So I'll turn it on. I'll mark this as kind of more of a lifestyle thing. It's teenagers. It's definitely Atlanta. And I'll hit update. And there you go. It's pushed out to MSN. Again, don't go look for it right now. It's not going to be up there right this second. There's a lot of people pushing content up there. But in an hour or two, it'll be up and you'll probably be able to see it. Okay, so that's the first one. So I go in here and I mark that as round 1 because I'd never published that before. Now, Orlando with Kids, I'm sure this one's up here. So we go in here, I hit edit, and lo and behold, it has been up there before. So I can check the local area. I can say, you know what? I'm going to try to push this out to Atlanta since it's Orlando. Don't have to do that if you don't want to. We talked about that earlier. Then just hit update. That's all you're doing is hitting update. And when you do that, it pushes it out. So I go through this list. I do 10 of those. Let's mark it. I do 10 of those every day. And then I am done for the day. That's how you do it. That's how easy it is. And that's how I know to go through this list. So I'm going to go through all of these that have been up there before. Then I'm going to go through all my round 1s and make sure they get to round 2. When I'm done there, then I'm going to create a new label that says round 3, and we're going to publish everything up for a 3rd quarter. And that's the way I work through the list. That's the way the VA can work through the list. If she has to take the day off, I know exactly what to do. She doesn't work on the weekend, so I'll manage it on Saturdays and Sundays. Very, very easy to do. Again, takes like less than 20 minutes and you're done. Now, the final thing I want to talk to you about is that sometimes your post will get put in an unpublished or rejected category when you push it over. And some of the reasons why. They're using machine learning in order to understand if a picture is an appropriate picture. So for a while there, our posts from Utah that were kind of reddish mountains didn't go up because they thought they were skin tones. So we just had to write support and say, hey, I think these photos are okay. They're just a slot canyon, and they put them up. If your post has a broken link, it's not going to go up. So you're going to have to fix the link, then hit the update again, and it'll send it over. And sometimes they just go into a queue where they're just waiting to see for someone to review them, for a human person to look at them. So if that happens, just be a little patient. If it takes more than a week, reach out to support and say, I have these posts. I think they're all okay. I just need you to approve them. And they usually do that within a couple of days. Now, reasons things get just full-on rejected are typically the broken link and it appears that it's inappropriate photos. And if it's not, then you just ask support and they'll help you. So that is the program. So if you're not in the program and you want to join, let me help you. I'm going to put a link down below to the program where you can sign up. Now, I don't have it in with MSN. I don't have all of the rules about what they look for when they're picking a site, but I do know they're looking for people who post with a regular cadence and who are active on their blog. So if you haven't published anything in 3 years, then you might not be accepted into the program. But if you publish 1 or 2 things a week on a regular basis, and you've done that for a while, and you are in the fitness, travel, entertainment, lifestyle, food, home and gardening, all of those types of things that are interesting to the general population, then they're likely going to allow you into the program and give you some love. So I'm going to put a link down below. If you would, please let them know that Leslie Peterson sent you. I'd appreciate that. And they give us a little love back. So the link's down below. What will happen is you'll apply. It might take a week or so while they evaluate your blog. Then they're going to write you back with a code. You'll have to go in with the code and fill out information about your business, set up how you want to be paid, all of that sort of thing. And then you'll push out a few posts. Now, it might take a little bit for those first posts to get published, but once they do, then it's time to set up your spreadsheet, divide by 90, and start the process. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it answered any questions for people who are already in the program or who were considering it and weren't sure that it was a great idea. If you have any questions, put them down below. I'm happy to answer your comments and give you, tell you about our experience and what we're learning and growing and doing with the program. Again, I'm not affiliated at all with Microsoft. But I'm so excited to share with you how it's been beneficial for our business, and I hope it's beneficial for yours as well.